Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I first want to start by saying Happy New Year. Thank you for taking your time to come to today's webinar. The fact that you're here today tells me that you care about yourself and you're trying to make strides to get better with your wellness. Before I start, I just want to make sure that you can see my screen. The other screen that I'm sharing, you could just give me thumbs up if you can see. You can see the screen that says self-care. Okay. So before we start, like Miss Eva said, my name is Amoatey. You know a bit about me. I'm excited to do this on behalf of Kofi. And thank you for supporting us. Happy New Year. We're going to start. There's nothing like doing self-care without taking care of self first. So we're going to start by doing the star breathing. I'd like you to hold your hands out like this, just like you see me do. And when we go up, you breathe in. And then when we come down, you breathe out. Can you see me? Give me thumbs up if you can see me. So we're going to do the star breathing. I want you to really be here. When you're breathing and your mind is not there, or you're not paying attention, you're not getting the fullness of what you're supposed to be getting. So going up, we'll be breathe in. Coming down, we'll be breathe out. We're going to do it 5 times because we have 5 fingers. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. We're trying to be present. We're trying to gather our thoughts, and we're trying to be in the moment. So can we start on the count of 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, breathe out. You breathe in, you breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Now let it out. We're going to do a last one, and we're going to hold it for a minute. Breathe in. Hold it. Now let it out slowly. Very slowly. All right. If you did it well, you're going to realize that as you're sitting, your body is beginning to relax. You're beginning to feel your bottom, like you can feel your butt in the chair. You're here, you're present, and you're ready to take care of you. All right. So I'm going to start. Practicing self-care is very, very important. It's extremely important for us. And I'd like to go over a few things that I went over the last time. We cannot do the Kahoot because that takes a lot of time. All right. So we cannot do the Kahoot today, but we're going to do other fun stuff. All right. So I want to start with physical self-care. And when it comes to physical self-care, I'm trying to change my screen. Okay. We already did the breathe in, breathe out. So what is self-care? Self-care is an individual's practice to aid self-health management without a medical aid. And I have to tell you that before this webinar, I took self-care very seriously again, especially with the introduction of telemedicine, you know, where you have to stand in a machine sometimes at home on a computer, and the machine will diagnose you. I mean, why would you want a doctor on a computer? Why wouldn't you want to take your own health into your hands? You own your body. Nobody else knows what is going on in your body. You have to even tell the medical professional how you feel so they can write their notes and they can come up with things and ways to help you. So I would like you to believe in the diagnosis, but when it comes to the prognosis, I want you to take it into your own hands because it's your body. You know your body more than anybody else can tell you, you know it. And when those machines, when you put yourself in and you're trying to get like health, like you're trying to get diagnosed, it'll give you like 28 diseases, then it'll narrow it down to maybe 22, then 21, then 5. It always gives you multiple diseases without even a doctor being present. All right. And at the end of the day, I suggest that the first thing with self-care is that you take your health into your hands. That's the first thing. And you want to improve your health. That's why you're doing that. It helps you to manage stress. It helps you to stay happy, and it helps you to be able to self-regulate and be able to enjoy your daily life. We all have busy daily lives, and we have to figure out a way to manage ourselves through self-care. All right. So I'm going to be going back and forth a lot. But why do people fail? Why do people not even do self-care? Or why do people start? And I'm going to get into goal setting later. But people always come up with New Year's resolutions instead of setting goals, and they never achieve it. But there's some reasons why we don't achieve those goals. Is that we could be afraid, we fear of the future. All right. We could feel we're stuck in the past. We've tried it before, it didn't work, or we tried it before, we didn't finish. So we're still believing that that's still gonna happen. And that's not a good thing. Some of us are overworked. You work so much that your self-care is not a priority to you. All right, even if it is to you, the fact that you're not making time for self-care, it means that it's not a priority to you. It means that your job takes precedent over your health. It means that whatever you're doing takes precedent over what is important, which is self. All right, some of us stop believing in ourselves. You start believing that you can do it. You've been trying to lose weight for a certain number of years and you start believing that I can do it. Like I've tried every single type of a diet and it doesn't work. And I really want to hit on this today. I was that person who tried every type of a diet that didn't work until I tried a lifestyle. And I have to tell you, the lifestyle is more fulfilling, it works, and it's easier to actually live that way. Because all these diet fabs, they do not work. We'll get into that later. All right, you believe that you're weak, or you're believing in your weaknesses. Your weakness is taking over yourself, your strength, and the ability for you to be able to put yourself first. You're thinking about everything that you're weak at and not looking at things that you're positive or things that you can do. We all have weaknesses and we all have strengths. All right. So I'd like you to focus on the strengths as you try to take care of self. Also, you assume that your problems are very unique. Everyone has problems. All right, we all do have problems, and we can't just assume that our problems are unique, and because of that, we can't do anything to take care of ourselves. And also, some people expect fast results. That is not a good thing. Expecting fast results in anything will make you give up. So you have to be realistic, and that's what we're going to talk about: the SMART goals. There's timely goals. There are things that you can achieve in a month. You cannot lose weight in a month, and if you did, it's not a healthy weight loss. You go right back to where you came from. You cannot achieve. It's almost like you want to be a doctor. You cannot not go to medical school. It takes a couple of years. All right, so we can't expect fast results. That is one of the things that makes a lot of people give up. A lot of people. When we talk about our health and self-care, I'd like you to think about these words. I'll get into them specifically later, but I'd like you to have SMART goals. Having SMART goals for your self-care is that you have specific goals. What is the goal that you want to have? Is it losing weight? Is it having a child? Is it making sure that your kids are doing better in school? Is it your professional self? Is it your mental health? Is it your psychological health? Is it your emotional health? Is it your spiritual health? It has to be specific. You have to have a specific goal that you're trying to reach, and it has to be measurable. Be realistic and honest to yourself. Is it measurable? All right, we'll get into that. Can you measure your goals? Is it achievable within the time frame that you've given yourself? All right, is it realistic? Do you think that you can really achieve this goal? I'm not saying don't push yourself. We can push ourselves beyond limit, but there's certain things that are not realistic. If a woman wants to have a baby, it would take 9 months for the baby to cook in the stomach, right? For the child to be born. So your goals have to be realistic, and it has to be timely. We'll get more into that. Okay, so when people think about self-care, they always think about going to the spa, getting a massage, eating the type of food you like, getting your nails done. It's all the physical things. People only think about physical self-care. But I have news for you. I could tell you for years that I was very good with my physical self-care, but I hadn't focused on certain areas like my psychological self-care, my emotional self-care, my spiritual self-care, my relational self-care, and my professional self-care. And you cannot achieve a wholesome life if you're only working on your physical self-care and not your psychological, and not your emotional, and not your spiritual, and not your relational, and not your professional. It would always be obvious that one aspect of your life is missing something. And that's why I tell myself, judge thyself, right? Judge thyself. If you judge yourself, welcome to those who are coming. Thank you so much for coming. But if you judge thyself, nobody else will judge you. It means that you take your life into your hands. You're realistic about what is going on with you. You write down these different aspects of self-care and you start to judge yourself in these areas. I hope that you have a notebook or something to write or something. I mean, you're paying attention in a way, but think about it. If you are only working on your physical self-care and your emotional self-care is lacking, it'll be very hard for you to even deal with others and have a good, awesome relationship with everybody else around you. All right. So I use myself as an example. I love to work out now. And Mr. Ralph, thank you for coming. But he knows he got me into working out because I used to work with him. And we'll talk about working out and things like that, you know, how to eat right, how to juice. I was very good into my self-care when it came to physical. And then I realized that in other aspects, I wasn't. But to the point where I was trying to make in judging yourself, I did not like to work out at all. Oh my God. It's tough. It's painful. It's difficult. It's everything if you want to be honest, right? So I judged myself and I said, I have to make myself do it. I started doing it till I started having desire to do it because it was my escape place. It was a place where everything in the world was out of my sight. It was me. It was just me. It was my time. All right. I had the desire to do it. And then I had to discipline myself to do it. I don't want to miss more than 2 days a week out of going to the gym. All right. 5 days, 2 days. All right. 5 days in, 2 days off. When you start taking 1 day off, 2 days off, it becomes 3 days, it becomes 4 days. That's when the discipline is. So you have to desire it to the point where you're disciplining yourself enough to do it. And then it becomes a devotion. It becomes part of you. All right. It becomes the point where if you don't go to the gym or if you don't do what you're supposed to do, for example, if it's your spiritual self-care, if you're not praying, all right, if you're not journaling, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you will start feeling it. So it's judging yourself, all right, desiring what you want to do, disciplining yourself with your desires, and devoting yourself to it. That's how you can achieve it. All right. So judge yourself. You're your judge. Nobody else will judge you. I'd like you to type in the chat real quick. My word for the new year is multiplication. All right. So for those of you who just came, just to break the ice a bit, so I can start with the main topics, I would like you to put in the top, just type in on the chat if you can. What is your word for this year? My word is multiplication in every aspect of my self-care journey. Multiplication. So could you please type it in real quick? And I'd appreciate if Dr. Ngozi or Eva could read 1 or 2 of them to me once it's typed in the chat. And then we could just see. My word is multiplication. I don't know what word yours is. It just has to be 1 word. And if you don't have it yet, think about it. Think about that word, 1 word. That's your word for the year.
Oh, I put in the chat that my word was results.
Was what?
Results.
Revolt?
Results. R-E-S.
Results. I like that, Eva. I like that. Results. So your word is results. So this year I can tell that, or if I'm thinking right, that whatever you do, you want to see results, right? So that is judging yourself. That's amazing. That's you judging yourself and giving yourself a word that you're trying to attain. Thank you so much. That's a powerful word, results. Is there any other word in the chat?
As of now, no, but I feel like
okay. All right, it's no problem. It's fine.
Sent a word.
Yes, there is. Renewal. I put in renewal.
Renewal. That's powerful too. So things will become, you're trying to get things to renew, right? New beginnings, fresh start. That's amazing. That's powerful. That's very powerful. All right, so I'm going to keep going. I don't know if there's another one.
Excellence. I'm sorry.
Excellence.
Yes, excellence.
Excellence. Okay, it's the thing is that I can't see everybody on the chat because I'm presenting, so I can only see a few people. So please forgive me. Excellence. That's amazing. You know, when we do things, we want to do things excellently. So the fact that you have this word, you're judging yourself, that whatever you touch this year has to have a touch of excellence to it. That's amazing. Thank you.
There's also intent.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine is intent. For me is, sometimes I try to juggle too much at once. So it's like when it comes to work, my goal this year is to, when I'm working, that's what I'm doing. if it's time to relax, that's what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about what emails I have to answer or what else I have to do. So I'm trying to, keep the main thing the main thing.
Absolutely. That is amazing. Intent. I'm actually going to add that to my word. Intentional. So we're being intentional. And like you said, some of us juggle a whole lot. But like you said, if you're home from work, you're home from work, right? So you stop answering emails, you stop doing those type of things. It's almost like when I pick my kids up from school. The moment I pick up them up from school, they know I have the rules and I set the rules with them. Unfortunately, they have to discipline me always. They're like, it's time for you to get off your phone. It's time for us to have a conversation. How was my day at school? They'll start throwing those things at me. Like, they'll start saying, Mommy, my day was great. So you know that you have to be intentional with living. I have to intentionally leave that time, that ride home back for us to talk about what happened in school. Thank you so much. That's great. Is there one more word? I'd like to take one more word because these words are powerful.
The word focus was added as well.
Focus. Wow. I need that. Focus. When you have so many things going on, you can easily lose your focus and you can easily give your focus to the wrong thing. What do I need to focus on today? And I'll talk about that. I'll talk about why time management is not real, but self-management is better than time management when we keep towards at some point when it comes to professional self-care. But focus. That's powerful. All right, focus. You guys are amazing. So there are different domains of self-care. There are a whole lot more, but you can just put them all under these different sections. There's the physical self-care, which is a lot, which most people know, right? Most people know in practice. There's the psychological self-care, which a lot of people don't, especially based on what culture you come from, what your belief systems are, emotional self-care, spiritual self-care, relational self-care, and professional self-care. And the reasons why in 2022 and beyond, you want to work on every single part of these self-care is that if you're lacking in any aspect, it still affects your daily life and it still affects your output at the end of the day. All right. You might be great. You might look great when you see your body's buffed. You look great. When you wear clothes, you look amazing. But when we try to have a conversation with you, we realize that emotionally you're not there. You're not balanced. And nobody wants to have a physical looks are important. However, what comes outside of you is more important because that tells us what is going on inside of you. All right. So we have to focus on all these different aspects in order to do well. Physical self-care, eating nutritious diets. I'm going to touch up on it again. I know we talked about it the last time, but why eating nutritious diet is important. So I've been doing a lot of research because I have a seminar coming up in February with a restaurant. We're talking about plant-based diet. And the reason why nutrition is important is because I have had to walk in the path of nutrition for 2 years. I've had to change my thinking, my ideas about food, and even who I am when it comes to food. One of the first things I want you to understand when it comes to nutrition is that you have to know your blood type. What is your blood type? What type of blood are you? Because there are certain foods that you can eat for your blood type that works for you, and there are certain foods that does not work for you for your blood type. So if you're trying to get maximum weight loss gains and you're eating the wrong food for your blood type, you're not helping yourself, right? So you're going to give up at some point. All right, and there's certain food. The reason why you need to know the foods for your blood type is that you want to eat the nutritious food for your body. You want your body to get the nutrients that it needs. If you have blood type O, you lack more of certain things that you have to replace in your body, right? If you have blood type B, there's certain things that you have to put more in your body. I'm O positive. It says that I can eat a lot of meat, right? But I don't eat meat. I'm on a plant-based diet. And the reason is because when I eat meat, it does not work for me. I know how I feel when I eat meat. I don't detox easily, heartburns. All animal products I knew was never good for me. So even as a blood type O, I also know that I'm lactose intolerant. So if I'm lactose intolerant, it's very highly possible that I can't have meat. All right, I developed also when I first came to this country, and that's when I learned about eating right for the blood type, as my father showed me. I'm grateful for parents who were very, very into health since I was a child. However, we are into health, but we don't understand certain things. Understand your nutrition. Understand what foods you put in your body. The food you put in your body should be colorful. On your plate, there should be more color. whether breakfast, whether lunch, whether snack, whether dessert. It should be more greens. It should be more orange colors. It should be more purple. It should be colorful. Every food that has color is what your body needs. All right, so that's what when it comes to nutrition. Nutrition is important because it dictates your mood. If you eat certain food, you're agitated, you have heartburns, you feel sick, you either feel good or bad. And for example, people who drink excess coffee, they have anxiety. The moment the coffee gets out of their system, some of them start displaying anxiety behaviors, all right? Because they link their lives, they're focused on coffee. What is one thing that you can replace with coffee if you're a coffee addict? Is mad water. See, I'm big on nutrition, so I've done a lot of research on nutrition. I use mad water. It's like coffee, but it's all natural herbs. It gives you the same thing that you need. All right. So whatever your addictions are when it comes to nutrition and food, you have to put your life in your hands and do research and start eating the right food. It's your job. Your body needs you to be able to do that. Your body needs you to know what your body is lacking. All right. So before I started the plant-based diet, I did blood work. And that's one thing a lot of people don't do. People don't do blood work. You don't know what your body's lacking. So you're adopting all these diets, but you don't know what your body really lacks. So my blood work told me that I was low in vitamin D, which a lot of Black people are low in vitamin D. All right, my blood work told me that I was low in iodine and certain things, all right, that I had to start to make sure that I had those things. People are taking vitamins because people tell them to. So I'm a plant-based eater, but based on my blood work, I have to introduce some meat and fish from time to time. I always rave about plant-based diet, but the Mediterranean diet has proven to be the best diet in the world, the Mediterranean diet, because it's usually plant-based with just very little of animal products, not a lot, very, very little. That has proven to be the most effective when you do research. When it comes to food, do you have any newsletters that you register with? Do you have any outlets? Do you read about food, what they do for your body? I have a newsletter that I get every month about food, all right? Even what type of foods to get, where to buy your vegetables. And when you live in a place that there's food apartheid, you know, like most of us live in urban districts or urban areas where you find more of McDonald's, Burger King, cheeseburgers than plants where you could buy fruits and vegetables. Those who live in the suburbans can get all these things. However, if you live in these areas, the first thing you see is the fast food. There's food apartheid going on. So you make yourself that, oh, first thing, breakfast, Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, lunch, Burger King, dinner, Golden Crust. Not good. You have to change your lifestyle. Breakfast, colorful. What could you do? Smoothies, porridges, teas, fruits. Those are breakfast, snacks and lunch, fruit. There are so many fruits in the world, fruits and vegetables. And if you can't find the regular fruits in the stores, you can go to Asian markets, you go to Caribbean markets. You have to make yourself eat right. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on nutrition. I'm very excited about nutrition. It's already 10:30, oh my goodness. I'm very excited about nutrition. I can just tell you that in my I have a nutrition webinar coming up. So you can always, Kofi will share that, and you could always join for that. So let me move on. Some of the foods also makes us sick, depressed. If you eat a lot of chips, a lot of candy, you will get a high and then you will get a crash, all right? But it's still not helping your body. So you want to be very careful. So eat well, eat colorful foods, all right? Plant-based diet is very important. I want to suggest to everybody, you could be a flexitarian. It means that you eat mostly as a plant-based diet and you would eat meat or fish once in a while. Like when the people who really, really started living, they used to kill animals during festivals and during occasions, and then they'll share it. They didn't eat meat every day. They didn't eat bacon for breakfast and eat sandwich for lunch and eat ghost stew for dinner. You can't do that to your body. Your body cannot take that on a daily basis. You also have to learn how to fast, whether for spiritual purposes or for health purposes. You need that. You have to let the machine stop. You have to give the machine a break. How do you not clean up your machine? It has to be weekly. Your body's like a machine and you can't keep feeding it every day. It will break down at some point, all right? Physical. Now I need exercising. When it comes to exercise, there's so many things that you can do, and don't let people fool you into doing what they want to do. Some people don't go to the gym. Some of us do go to the gym because we actually want to get out of our houses. Some of us, I recharge. I'm a person who recharge by just seeing people. All right, I'm an extrovert. Some people are introverts. There are things that you could do as an introvert. There are different apps that you could have at home to exercise. You could start by walking. You could start. I first, when COVID hit, I wasn't, and they closed the gym. I said, you guys, it's not the only solution in the world. I started walking, so I started jogging, so I started running, and I could run for miles and miles on. You'll be surprised what your body can do. I started stretching. That is the biggest thing. I started stretching every night for 10 minutes. First of all, the stretching makes you sleep super good, and then your body starts becoming flexible. You're going to see everything that the stretching does for you. So there's so much things to do. There's gardening. If you like to plant stuff, go outside, garden, get your hands on the soil, fresh air, running, walking, a lot of things that you can do. All right, sleep. Sleep is important, and we know that. So please spend a lot of time in sleeping. All right, also having your body nutrition hydrated with water is very important. Please cut back sugar. If you are on this self-care webinar, I just want to challenge you that if you use sugar, you should stop using sugar. The reason is because there's so many things to replace sugar with. There's honey, there's date syrup, there are plant-based sugars that you can use. Please stop using sugar. Sugar has been found to be one of the biggest addictions. And if you're trying to change your diet, if you're not working on the sugar part, you will not achieve your goals because it will always slow you down in how your body works. They say sugar is the devil. So please, when you see sugar, just say, hey, you devil, you're not part of my life. You rebuke it. Rebuking it by not using it. All right, so no sugar. Please stay hydrated. Some people say drink a lot of water. Drink water when you're thirsty because there's also something like overhydrating. Okay, some people just overdo it. You know, it's funny, but in the beginning of the year, I go to the gym all the time. And you should see how many people are there now. And those people come with the big bottles. You know, they're there to show you something like they just started. Where have you been? If you're coming with the big bottles, they're just sipping it through. You're even doing things wrong. I also want to give a piece of advice. When you're trying to get a gym, please get a gym membership that they can show you how to use the machines. Because that was me. For like 3-4 years, I used to be a gym person and I did not know how to use the machines. I was using them wrong. And because I was using them wrong, I wasn't achieving anything. So please, there are people in the gym that will show you what to use and how to use it so you can achieve your right goal. Okay, so when it comes to physical, body care, all right, how we take care of our body, the type of products we use, you'll be surprised how that affects our bodies, how that affects us. I said to myself starting 2020, 21, that I wasn't going to use anything with chemicals. I started appreciating my black soap from home, right? Rather than all these scented perfume things. I started getting into scrubs, which I make for myself for the most part. You can make it yourself. That's the only time you can have sugar. You can use sugar and coffee to make yourself homemade scrubs. So all these things online, start using unartificial things. Put things that you put on your body and in your body is important. But I can tell you that the products that you use do affect you. Whatever you're using in your hair is seeping through your scalp. Whatever you're putting on your body is seeping through your pores. It's your body. At the end of the day, your body is yours and you have to put what it is good for you, not what social media is hyping. Not because everybody's using it. It's so sad that a lot of foreigners in this country don't use black soap. Please rethink it. Don't use shea butter. You want to use all these different products. What are those products doing to our bodies? And another thing when it comes to physical is living space. Let's try to be minimalist, okay? Let's try to reduce whatever you haven't used in a year. You're not going to use it for the most part. I understand that it's COVID times. And so if you haven't used it in a year or two, it's possible that you use it again. But minimal your space. When your space has the less things in it, it's good for you. Declutter. It's good for your brain. Physical space is important. Anything that could be hidden so you can have a clean space, so you can think, so you could be productive is very, very important. Your personal space does affect your production and how you feel, all right? Okay, I think I have to move from physical. It's a lot, but I know when it comes to minimalism, it's hard when you have children because there are toys everywhere, you trip on them too, you know, so I understand, but if you're a single woman, You should be practicing minimalism. You shouldn't have too much in your house. Because if you're doing that now, what happens when you get married? What happens when you have children? Your house, you can't even live in your house. And please stop hoarding stuff. Please keep buying stuff. Please don't do that. All right. Minimalism is important. And all these things that I'm talking about, all these things can be read. All right. So after this, you can always get extra information online. Just be sure of where you get your sources from. That's extremely important. Psychological self-care. A lot of people don't want to talk about this. People can look good. They're looking good. Makeup is on point. Hair is on fleek. You know, like my kids say, you're looking great, or bussin', whatever they call it. All these words these teenagers use. You're looking great, but psychologically, let's talk about it. How do you feel? Let's be honest. Are you okay up there? Sometimes no. There's a lot of storms going on. You know, I see children, and the children will say, I can say, what's going on with you? And the child will say, I don't know. I just have multiple thoughts racing through my mind. I don't know which one is important. I don't know which one I should focus on. I don't know which one not to focus on. That's why you're practicing self-care. That's why you're here. Practicing mindfulness allows you to be present. How do you practice mindfulness? You know, it's as simple as making it your daily routine. I practice mindfulness at work. After every 30 minutes, I get up to do something. I get up to stretch. I get up to drink water. I have an alarm. People are like, your phone is always going off. I'm practicing mindfulness. I do deep breathing. I'll sit down and deep breathe. And there are different ways to deep breathe. You can look at different videos. You could deep breathe softly. You could deep breathe fast. You could deep breathe in different positions. You have to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is very, very important. It's a whole topic on its own. Please practice mindfulness. It'll bring you to the moment. It'll keep you focused. All right, so the multiple thoughts. When you're practicing mindfulness, nothing matters but the particular present moment. If you at work want to take a minute off for mindfulness, to breathe, you do not try to manipulate the thoughts in your mind. You're just here. You focus on the breathing. That's why I said, let's do 5-star, because you're focusing on your fingers. In, out, in, out. Your mind is there. Yourself is there. Everything. You are into being mindful. It's a practice, and you get better at it. Trust me. I realized that I used to deep breathe wrong. When I first started deep breathing, it was like, you know, I just did it. I didn't even realize that I was doing it wrong. But when you start to do it better and you start to understand, you know, that when you breathe in, your stomach constricts. It's like there's a pose. There's a pose and there's a position. And then when you breathe out, actually your stomach moves up when you breathe in. When you breathe out, it actually, I'm trying to get the right word. It constricts and it goes in and out. So you have to understand what happens for the different breathing types. All right. Learning a new skill psychologically. If your grandmother used to crochet, if you're struggling psychologically, you could learn a new skill. You could start learning how to cook, right? If that's a problem, you could take an interest. Something that will psychologically take your mind off there. So what I want to do is learn how to ride a bicycle. It's amazing. I'm a great swimmer. I work out. I cannot ride a bicycle. I cannot even sit on it. And I've talked about this before. My kids suggest 3-wheel bike, which is pretty hilarious to see a woman like me sitting on a 3-wheel bike outside, right? And the whole world seeing that you can't ride a bicycle. But guess what? I'm learning that skill. I'm not worried about the three wheels, because it's just a matter of time. I'll be out of there and I'll be on my bicycle, right? And I'll just be enjoying it. Learn a new skill, develop yourself. Whatever the skills that you have, develop it. If it helps you psychologically, develop it. Some people like to shoot bows and arrows, develop it. Some people like to fish, develop it. Whatever helps you psychologically, please start developing it. I want to pause real quick and ask if anybody has a question, because I have so much to share, but I also don't want to lose the opportunity for people to have questions about physical care, physical self-care, and psychological self-care. I'll give you like 30 seconds. And if it's in the chat, can you please help me to know what's in the chat? Because I'm not trying to move a lot of the things here. You can unmute and ask your question, or you could type it in the chat and we could always get to the questions. When I'm talking, as a matter of fact, I think I prefer it this way. Please type your questions in the chat and I can handle it during the last 5 minutes. What about that? That way we can keep going. But I don't want to overwhelm you also with too much information. Reading does something for you psychologically. You know, when I realized that reading is one of the most powerful things in the world, I have to tell you that I knew it all the time. You know, we hear these things. If you are not reading, that's scary. That's all I can say. It's scary because everything is in a book. You should be reading. You should be thinking of writing your book. You know, read. Any successful person, they've read, and they read, and they keep reading. I'm surprised when people say, I read 10 books in a week. How can you read and not have the time? I do digital reading. I do books online. When I'm at the gym and I have my headpiece on, I'm reading. I might play just one song to get me into it. But for my rest of the time at the gym, my 2 hours at the gym, I'm reading. I mean, 2 hours is a lot, but whatever time it is that I'm at the gym, for the most part, I'm reading a book because I don't have the time to physically open a book and read it. So I'm reading online book. I can hear exactly what the author is saying. There's a difference in physical reading though. It's better to read the book. However, at this stage of my life, what works best for me is reading online, is reading audiobooks. Please read. I can't stress it enough. Whatever you're trying to achieve, you can read about it. Whatever people have written about it, please read. It's very, very important. Digital detox, social media. You know, people don't even realize I'm doing a self-care webinar focused solely on digital detox for children. Because this social media business that we have on, it's a scary thing. And adults haven't even been able to figure out how to manage their lives with social media, let alone giving a child a cell phone and allowing them to just explore social media. When you and I know what is on social media, when you and I live in a country where social media is not censored, not at all. YouTube is not even censored. Why do you think China and those places, some of the kids can't watch Winnie the Pooh? Those countries, yes, they're dictatorships, their form of government is different. But if your children are getting certain information that they can't manage in their brains, what do you expect? This social media generation. And we adults, we've become social media. Look, I have time for social media. I don't spend more than 30 minutes on social media. I have things to do. When I started realizing that I have things to do, social media doesn't waste my time. All the postings that people are posting on is cute. God bless your heart. But what am I trying to do? When you talk to Oprah Winfrey, she said, I barely watch TV. The person who produces the TV shows barely watches it. What are you doing with yourself? Detox yourself from social media. I just want to scream when it comes to that. And I get upset as a school counselor with parents who give their kids phones and don't have apps that regulates the phones. And then you get upset at the behaviors that your children show. Why are you upset? Why? Learn about social media. It's the dangerous place. It's a dangerous place. It's a whole world on its own. Children can lose their self-esteem there, even adults. You see all these pictures of people showing their lifestyles, making it look so great. And that's what you think it is. People are working on their brands. I always laugh at people when people are working on their brands. People are working on things. People have reasons why they're doing things on social media. What is your reason? How much time are you putting into it? Digital detox is one of the things that has to be one of your goals this year. Absolutely one of your goals. A lot of men waste their time. And you know what? Now you don't even have to see people for porn. It's right on social media, Instagram. They're advertising it. Women actually take off their clothes, all right? And they go to places and pose and do this for hours just because that's their job. That's what they want. I'm not saying something wrong with what they want to do, but what are you doing? You're spending your time taking all that information in. Why? Is that part of your goal? Is that part of your self-care plan? If it's not, then you're wasting your time because that time is not, you're not managing yourself. Self-management is managing yourself, not the time, because time is going 24 hours. We can't control it. You can only manage yourself to deal with the 24 hours. So social media, I'm serious. Detox, adults, we are more on it. I know why, because I can go on Instagram and before I know it, it's 10 minutes. What? Before you know it's 30 minutes, 45, nope, please detox. That's not good. Therapy. A lot of people don't believe in therapy, especially based on where you come from. If you're African, if you're Caribbean, even African American men, there must be something from the motherland that connects the African man. The most people don't believe in therapy. Excuse me. However, therapy can be done through friends. Therapy can be done through family. But there are certain seasons in your life. Why therapy? As a therapist, if you have to choose a therapist that can help you to achieve your SMART goals, all right? So you might think that therapy is not important because you're going to the wrong therapist. You're going to the therapist that is like your friend. They're not helping you achieve your goals. So please invest in therapists that helps you achieve your goals. Professional therapy. We'll get to that when it gets professional self-care. 10:47. Emotional self-care. I want to talk about the power of journaling. When it comes to emotions, and emotions being all out of place all the time, one of the biggest things is journaling. Journaling, most people don't want to write. Journaling is powerful. Journaling is key. Write. Most people have written their books from their journals. It's how they felt, what they've done, what they've gone through. It's almost like blogging your life in your own way, all right? But when it comes to emotional self-care, power of journaling is that you create an outlet, all right? That you're able to get out your feelings and emotions. You write them down, especially if it's like a storm in you. You write your feelings down and you release these thoughts properly by journaling. You're writing your thoughts down. How did you? And every day you have to do self-reflection. So today was great. I got upset at this. My emotions were out of place. With journaling, it helps you to be able to calm down, all right? Journaling also helps you to calm the storms inside of you because sometimes it's just so much. It's just a lot. Our emotions are out of place, especially if you're a woman. There's the time of the month that it's not easy, and people never shouldn't cross you the wrong way. They better not, it's tough, and we don't want to accept it, especially in our communities. When you have a baby, most women experience postpartum depression. We don't want to talk about it. We don't. She's crazy, she's losing her mind, but maybe she's losing sleep. Maybe she needs help. Emotionally, a woman bubbles up after childbirth. Look at all those vitamins you're taking. When the baby comes out, there's a feeling of losing self. It's like you're empty. If you've been there before, and having support helps. When I had kids, I scheduled my visitation because I realized I was starting to struggle. So I'll make sure that somebody will be there at 10:30. And then when you call me, I'll be like, oh, no, get here like 12:45. All day I had company. The time that I didn't have company was when I had to sleep. All right, so it's very important. But journaling is important. Why is journaling important? When you journal, you free your mental space, which is your mind. You take it from your mind and you put it in the book. Believe it or not, there's power in that. All right. You also understand patterns. If you're journaling, you may know that maybe January, February, that's when you're a bit crazy, right? Or maybe December, that's when you're a bit crazy. There's certain seasons of the year that people can't deal with you, be around you. When you journal, you see patterns, you see routines, you see things that you have to change. So please, like I said before, judge thyself. When you judge yourself, nobody else will judge you. All right. Also, journaling allows you to understand what makes you feel better over time. Because if you wrote in your journal that this is what you did today that helped you, maybe going for a walk helped you, you know that next time when you're struggling with the same situation, this is what I need to do. All right. It helps you. And like I said, in the different aspects of your life, we have different emotions. If you're in the dating stage, you have trauma not trauma, you have emotions in dating. You're meeting different people. They're trying to figure out who to settle with. They're trying to figure out who's good. People have good things and bad things. There's no perfect person. Emotions, if you're in college, all right? If you're a teenager, if you're a child, they're showing more report. The kids are depressed nowadays, all right? And what hurts me the most is that we're back to virtual learning. That's a shame because the children are depressed. And if you're living in your household with children who are doing virtual school, please take care of yourself first, because they don't need any more stress. They don't need any more depression. They're home, they're not socializing, they're not talking to friends, they're not seeing outside, they're not on the playground, they're not kicking each other, they're not laughing, they're not out, they're not letting all those things out. And then all you're saying, sit down. Why do you keep eating? What will they do when they're home? The fridge is like, they always want to eat. So you have to take care of yourself so you can manage your children. Because believe it or not, as your children grow, a lot of things that you see, even if you're not happy about it, you were part of it. You're part of the influence in what your children are and what they become, all right? There are a lot of things that are out of our control, but the things that are in our control, if you're not managing your emotions, your children will not manage their emotions. And I'm telling you, I'm not perfect. When I come home and it's not clean, it's a problem. I start from the door. Why is this here? Why is this here? Why is this here? Sometimes I just decide I'll just come on, I'll put water in my mouth and I'll just walk away. Hard, but sometimes I do it. All right, so I'm working on my emotional, I'm working on emotional regulation. Adults, we all have to work on emotional regulation. And as much as I'm sharing these things, like I tell people, I have not achieved them all. I'm still working on them. Every day, I'm working on these self-care. It's constant, it's daily, it's progressive. You can't say, oh, last year, oh my God, I was so good at my self-care. So this year I'm taking a break. It's not going to work. So please journal. Journaling is very important. Oh, 52. Ooh, time is an issue. Time is always an issue, but we'll be fine. All right, so journal is important. When you journal what makes you happy. You can also have journal prompts. All right, some people say, I don't know how to start a journal. I don't know what to write. When I pick the book, I'm blank. Even though I have all these thoughts in my mind, I'm blank in what to write. That journal, there are prompts. One of the prompts could be, what really makes me happy? So you can write down all the things that makes you happy. All right, what really makes me sad? You know, if I knew I could fail, what would I do? All right, it's different prompts that you can have, and that will help you to write in your journal. You could start it that way. And I want to talk about self-compassion. A lot of us are not compassionate to self. All right, self-compassion is important. Self-compassion is the ability to understand, accept, and love yourself inward. Self-compassion has to do with emotional self-care. All right, how do you give self-compassion? Comfort your body with what it wants. All right, comfort your body with what it wants. And I don't mean whatever it wants. You know, we have to have boundaries, because he wants to do whatever it wants, that's a problem. But comfort your body. Eat something healthy. You know, I've been feeling great since I started being based on plant-based diet. I can run, I can roll, I can do all these moves. It's because I started to comfort myself. I started to eat what I felt was good for my body. And the biggest thing was that after I eat it, if I don't feel good, I'm not eating that food again, because it's not making me feel any good about myself. Write a letter to yourself. All right? Think about a situation that caused you to feel pain. Write a letter to yourself. How do you forgive yourself? How do you move on from the situation? Because a lot of us are stuck. We don't give ourselves compassion. We give it to everybody else but me. Oh my God, I did this years ago. It's hanging over my head. I can't let it go. But I want to say that if you're a believer and you ask for forgiveness and you don't practice self-compassion, you're not even doing it right. All right, because if you're forgiven, why are you not being compassionate to self, right? Why are you not being compassionate to self? Give yourself a break, all right? Give yourself encouragement. Tell yourself, I can do it. I'm great. I'll be all right. Encourage yourself, all right? And practice mindfulness, like I said before. We also have to have emotional boundaries. Learn to say no. Learn to say no, 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 no. Why? Because when you say yes to something, you're saying no to another thing. So balance it out. Learn to say no. It's okay. All right, we're going to go into spiritual. We still have emotional boundaries. Support groups. You know what support groups mean. Family members, friends, therapy groups, church, mosque. You know, support groups is important. You have to have support groups. You're not alone. You can't always isolate. All right. because you won't do good isolating. Spending time with people. I know, like I've had to schedule a few meetings with people online where we drink tea, you know, we're eating the food. We're not physically there. It's not the same. It's okay for now, but spending time with people recharges you. Even if you're an introvert, there's a level of spending time with people that helps. So if you're an introvert, spend time with your spouse, spend time with your friends, spend time with people that matter to you. 56. Okay, now social media influence on emotions. That's a whole different topic. Just realize that social media affects your emotions in different ways. It can make you sad. It can make you laugh sometimes, the comedies. You know, TikTok has a lot of great comedies that can make you laugh. It can make you jealous. It can put you in different emotional places that you might not like. All right, so watch that. Regulate yourself when it comes to your emotional aspect. Make sure that social media does not influence you or does not influence your emotions. Hi, Dr. Martin. I know that I have 3 minutes, but I have spiritual, self-care, financial, and professional, relational. I mean, can I get a few minutes to, I just want to know what you think before I proceed. I think that if I can get like 10, 15 minutes, I can wrap up.
10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Spirituality. So this is one of the self-cares that I had to take serious. You know, I've read a lot into other religions. I understand Buddhism, you know, I understand different religions, but when it comes to spirituality, I had to walk on my own path. And you have to be true to yourself. It's not a group thing. You know, I had to get to know what my spirituality is. You know, I am saved, okay? I'm a believer. I love Jesus. That's me. And I had to start walking in my path and walking it right. Why? Because spiritually, I realized that I was lacking. A lot of people say, oh, I'm Buddhist. And a lot of people go to college. Those of you who go to college, be honest with me, after you learn a little bit about religion, you know, you're like, this Christianity. You hear the whole thing about it. But this isn't for me. This is my journey. I understand the Buddhism. A lot of the practice in Buddhism does help with daily living. But for me, when it comes to spirituality, it was for me connecting to a higher power that I believed in. And I've experienced that higher power through Jesus, for me. All right, so how do you practice spirituality? Whatever you practice, if you're a Muslim, if you're Buddhist, if you don't believe in anything, there still is the level of spirituality that is going on, because the world could not just be this, what we see, right? There has to be other things that's making it work. So you have to figure out, you have to work on your spiritual path. I have to tell you that when it comes to spiritual self-care, you know, one of the things that they say is that a lot of people who don't practice spiritual self-care are anxious. You usually you're an anxious person. You know, there's something about spirituality that keeps you grounded, that keeps you unmoved. You know, it doesn't matter what situation is going on. There's something about spirituality that keeps you in a position of trust and hope. All right. And for me, meditating is one of them. How do you meditate? I won't have the time today. All right. But you can practice meditation in different ways. If you are not building your spirituality on a daily basis, but you wake up and you eat and you go to work, but you're not spending 10 minutes of your time to meditate, to read a sacred text, whether it's the Bible, whether it's the Quran, whatever it is for you, you are not practicing it. You're not doing it on a daily basis, okay? That aspect of your life is not happening. You're not praying, all right? You can pray while I was driving. Please don't close your eyes, because if you close your eyes, you'll be in heaven or wherever you want to go too soon, all right? Retreats. Do you retreat for your spirituality? Do you make time for your spirituality? Do you walk in? I love to walk in nature for spirituality. I put on my great music, walk in nature, all right? Do something. There's so many ways to be spiritual. Nature walk, experiences, stillness and quietness. People don't know how to be still. I have to learn how to be still. Still working on it. Stillness, just being still. Just being still, just being quiet. Just allowing your body to see the other part and the other aspect of life. You know, spirituality, that you are more connected to your innate and the spiritual being. You're not just physical. You're really not. And I have to tell you this story, you know, I took this yoga class, and when I go, I pick which classes to go because there are different levels of yoga. and I don't believe in some of the things that they practice. And one of the yoga classes, they were doing singing bowls. And in singing bowls, they basically speak in tongues. I was like, ooh, even Buddhist people speak in tongues. Oh my God. But that's what I mean, it was an eye-opening for me. But what I'm trying to say is spirituality, own your spirituality, is your path. Own it, do more research into it, read your text, get better at it. And at the end of the day, you have to love everyone irrespective of their spiritual journey. That's why I didn't say religion. The word today is not religion. It's how you build your spiritual self-care. All right. One of the ways to do it too is with minimalism. All right. Give things away. When you do that, you become more, you just let things go. Your ability to hold on to things doesn't help you in your spiritual journey. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. All right. How can you practice spiritual wellness? Reading a text, prayer walks, mindfulness, quietness, laying down and resting is spirituality. Stillness and quietness. That's why people go on vacation. Spirituality, but you don't need to do it only when you go on vacation. It should be daily, or at least should be part of your weekly plan. Be still, be quiet, just relax. Just see what thoughts goes in your brain. Don't even pay attention to the thoughts. Let them just run. All right. Being present and aware, being kind to yourself. All right. Prayer doodling. You could do prayer doodling. There's so many things you could do when it comes to spirituality and enhancing your spiritual life. All right. 1 second, since my timing is low, I just want to make sure I don't spend time on things that I don't have to talk about. Okay, so I know that spirituality is a controversial topic, but please, one of the things that I also want you to find out in spirituality, please, forgiveness, forgive yourself, forgive others, prayer, meditation. You have to have a spiritual community, all right? And you have to find purpose and meaning in life. You have to ask yourself, is this all that it is? Is this all of it? Like, is this it? You have to ask yourself that. I keep saying, judge yourself, and no one will judge you. So I think I'll do financial self-care real quick. I think I'm working in my time frame. You said 10 minutes, right? No, you said 10 minutes earlier, so I'm calculating. So financial self-care, when it comes to finances, I'm working on it. It's managing our income. It's something that we all have to work on. And one of the things that we have to be honest with ourselves when it comes to financial self-care is there other avenues or streams or revenues of income that we can make rather than just focusing on our main income? Let's be honest. If you focus on your main income, then the reality is that you have to plan. It's going to take a longer time to achieve a lot of things, right? I mean, if that's what you want, you can do that. But if you have hobbies and interests and other things that you can do that can give you money, please look into that, because you give yourself financial self-care. Finances are part of the reasons why relationships struggle, why there's always fights in relationship. And you have to start looking at money in a very serious way. It's part of daily living. You don't want to be so where you're so into money, you don't let it go, you don't use it, you don't release it. However, you also want to learn to manage your money. I'm working on managing money. It's just something that I'm working on as till now. And I think that I'll be working on it for a long time, because it doesn't matter how much you make, it's how you manage your money, right? Some people make 6 figures, but they always broke. Some people make not 6 figures, but they always have something, and they even give more than the people who make 6 figures, okay? So it's managing your money, knowing and managing expenses. All I can say is there's so many apps. There are so many ways to manage your expenses. There's so many apps now that some are free, and Excel sheets and all of the things that you can use. You can use traditional ways. You can write it down. I write it down. It's easier for me. You're not big on all these apps. Taxes. Who files your taxes? Do you know what they're filing? And I'm telling you, because I had to learn it the wrong way. When you have the wrong person filing your taxes, you don't know what information they're putting in your taxes. You don't know what they're doing. So take your finances into your hands. How much are you making? How much are you giving away? All right. And who is preparing your tax documents? Because at the end of the day, it's a financial legal document that would determine your life in a certain years if you're trying to go back to using your credit system. You just don't know. Just put all of this in your hand. Spending and saving. Please learn to spend some money. Some people don't spend at all. Some people save, 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 save. And some people spend, 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 spend. There has to be a middle ground, all right? I'm working on it. There has to be a middle ground. Giving. Financially, people don't plan on giving. I don't know how you don't plan on giving. You don't even have to be a believer to know that giving comes, when you give, you get. There's certain principles and natural phenomena in life, all right? Giving just makes you to get. It's just a principle, all right? So you have to learn to give your tithe if you believe in that. You have to learn to give your offerings if you believe in that. You have to learn to be kind to people. Give to people who are struggling, if you can. It's not all about you. Your money is not only for you. Please learn to give. Give for causes. Give for communities. I have friends who give to St. Jude. Amazing. That's lovely. All right. Because that helps people. If you know somebody who's helped, St. Jude has helped before, then you know you could help. Give for causes, give for communities, give gifts, give alms, give tithes, give offering, give. You can't just keep pushing things down. You got to give. It's a principle. I can't explain it to you, but start practicing it. And you see that it really does work. So when it comes to financial self-care, don't run away from them. A lot of people don't want to calculate their money. They just want to live. Run towards them. Face them head on. The math is not working out. The budgeting is not working out. That's why. Because that's why you know that you need an extra income or you need to cut back. Create a financial plan with your household. I tell my kids, you can only have fast food once a week. That's all. That's it. All right. You plan it with your household. You eat out only once a week. All right. Or we do this only once a week. We buy clothes for different seasons. I don't buy you 3 sneakers in one season. You get 1 sneaker in one season. You get 1 boots in one season. Where are you going? You don't have a job. You're not modeling. You're not doing anything. Create a financial plan with your household. If you're spending a lot of money on your children in their physical activities, then you need to think about their college because you'll be needing it soon. Let me tell you, my daughter is in 8th grade. Unbelievable. In 4 years, she'll be in college. Am I ready? Can't tell you. But that's why we're doing self-care, right? That's why we're here. I mean, are we ready? I can't say am I ready. I'm not the only one raising her. Of course, she has a wonderful father. All right. So we're not ready. I'm not saying we're not ready, but I'm not telling you. Use positive language when thinking of your financial situation. Start speaking positive, confirm. Like I told my kids, I'm a millionaire. It's gonna happen. I can see my Tesla and my other sports car. I see them, they're coming. All right, start talking positive things. You'll see it. It's just a matter of time. All right, remember, you're not the only one experiencing financial problems. I have to tell you, I shouldn't even say that, but you're not the only one experiencing financial problems. It doesn't matter how much you make. You're not the only one experiencing financial problems. You just have to run towards them and start doing something about it. Holiday shopping, please be careful. You're not Father Christmas. You don't have to give something to everybody. The people who get sad and depressed during the holiday season, they spend all these money, and then in January, they have to pay all these credit cards. You don't have to do that. Set boundaries in your relationships. I don't do Christmas gifts, I tell my friends. That's just something we don't do. I'm not. Even with my kids, you have to earn it. And I have to know the Christmas gift. It's not just a time. It's time to give. It's time for me to give to the poor and the needy. That's for me. That's how I see it. That's the time that I give to them. Not only the time, but to me, those are the people that I have to worry about. Because if you can eat, if you can dress, those extra gifts, yes, you need it, but you don't need all of it. Because you have to realize that ingratitude even sets in our children for having extras. They play with the toy for 2 days and then you see it all over the place. Please, when it comes to money, please watch what you buy with it. Okay, the science of self-care, habit, and routine. So developing habits that work for you and reflect what you're trying to achieve with your money. Okay, you have goals for your money. So please develop things and ways that you can achieve your goals with the money that you have. All right. Whoo, relational self-care. Dr. Ngozi, what do you think? I have relational and professional. Should I go through it real quick? Because I have 2 minutes for the 10 minutes.
Yes, I think you should round up now. We can do this next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, just round it up, you're saying? Okay. So relational and professional self-care, I cannot touch on today. because we're trying to work with the time, all right? So takeaways. So self-care is not selfish. I just want you to know that. Self-care is not a selfish thing. As of now, the CDC, as of last week, 1 in every 3 teenagers is anxious, has anxiety problems. And adults are anxious. You know, when I do parent meetings with the kids, sometimes I understand why they're anxious, because I could tell when the parents are sitting down, they're showing different ways that I can pick anxiety in them. So you're anxious and you're putting your anxiety on your children, and they're also showing it. That's why you need to take care of yourself. All right. It's what you're giving. It's not what you say, it's what you do. That's what your kids are watching. All right. Get back to basics. What makes you happy? What keeps you grounded? All right. I want you also to look at the different aspects that we talked about. Which one do you have to work on now? And which one do you have to build on working on? All right. Healthy habits. Make it a priority. Develop a wellness routine for you. Don't go online and develop somebody else's routine. These topics that I've talked about, you can create a chart and develop your routine, what you will do. All right. That way, you know that it's going to work for you, because you might put the gym in there, but you won't go to the gym. If you have young children, it'll be hard for you to go to the gym. But guess what? You could do 5 minutes of Taibo or something else. All right. You could do that. Nourish yourself with plants. I like plants. All right. Nourish yourself, whatever makes you happy. Plants, flowers, going out, dancing, dancing, dance. Meeting with people, going on dates with friends and family. Practice self-compassion. All right. Be present. When you find yourself all over the place, make yourself come in your mind. Bring yourself back. Be present. And I also say that once you start practicing self-care, your confidence level is going to start building up in different aspects. All right. Be curious about your self-care. Read more about your self-care. And no matter what you dream of, you will not experience it if you are not putting it into practice. Correct. Okay. And one of the things that I want you to remember is if you're not eating well, that's a problem. Please analyze your food intake. Analyze it. Analyze your eating, because what you put inside of you is big. It affects everything: your brain, your looks, your complexion, your color, your skin, your food. Food. If you don't remember anything today, please make food your priority. Start reading about food, the different types, what it does for you. Please start getting into that. All right, how food affects your body. Learn about herbs. All right. Some of us don't do dandelion roots. We have to do all these herbs. Please raise your level of education and knowledge on these things, how you can use herbs and food to make yourself feel better. All right, your diet. And please don't wait for the doctor to tell you. You don't need them. You only need them for diagnosis. Please put the prognosis in your hands. All right. Please, you can get a diagnosis, but you can help yourself get better. The medications are not helpful. All right. And in my food seminar, I'm talking mostly about that. That goes into deep details about giving your life into somebody's hands to just prescribe medications because they get a kickback.
Oh, yes.
You get a kickback. All right. So that's it. Please choose your health over everything. Ingredients that you use: vitamin therapy, herbs, food, exercise, your body. All right. Stop putting bad things in your body. I didn't even talk about the SMART goals, but please just do things that are realistic, things that are achievable. All right. Do things that you know that you have results. Don't just do things just because. Please take your self-care personal and please prioritize it. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Angela. So right now, I don't see any questions in the chat. So I'll try to put maybe like 30 seconds so that if anyone has a question, they could put it into the chat and we'll read it out loud. So I'll just give a little bit of time for that. Okay, so I think that your presentation is just that thorough that no one has any questions. So I just want to say thank you again. And please make sure to practice the self-care strategies that we learned today with your students, your children, your colleagues, or your family members. And I'd also like to thank all of you for joining COFY today, and we hope to see you at our future meetings. We will be sending some communications for part 2 of the Closing Achievement Gap Through Data-Driven Instruction webinar, so look out for that. And if you have any questions or want to stay updated on anything that COFY is organizing, please join the Facebook group, which is named COFYinc, COFYinc, for further information about the organization or any upcoming programs. So thank you all again for coming today. And thank you again, Ms. Angela, for the presentation.